Hello and welcome to another episode of the Investor Financing Podcast. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about financial independence, passive income, and all the things we like to promote on the channel. Please welcome Joey Mure, founder and partner at Wealth Without Wall Street. He brings impact, integrity, and generosity to the company every day. He hopes to be remembered as a lover of Jesus, devoted husband, faithful father. Despite dreaming around the age of 10 of becoming an orthopedic surgeon, Joey was in the mortgage business for 11 years before moving to finance in 2014. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, Beau, it's my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
So let's kind of unpack this. So in 2000, you're in the mortgage business like I've been in my whole life. And then in 2014, you say, hey, there's a better way. The mortgage business is great and it's a great business. We help people, but I want to get more into this financial kind of impact and get away from the mainstream kind of investing. And it sounded like you discovered Nelson Nash, who wrote a book on infinite banking. Can you walk me through like the journey of how you discovered this and kind of your thought process, and then how you went full circle to now you're helping tons and thousands of people with your business? So that's fascinating.
Well, it's all surrounded around impact, Beau, as you mentioned, like that. If there's one word that I want to be known for and like that I'm driven by, it's impact. And back in 2009, I was making well over $300,000 in the mortgage business a year. My wife was at home with our kids, and things were good on the outside, right? Income was good, and I felt like, hey, man, this is success. But if I looked around, I didn't feel successful because I was more and more of my time was getting siphoned off. I remember specifically going on vacations with my family and sending them down. I have 5 daughters now. At the time, it was 3 and 4 or whatever. And I would send them down to the beach and say, hey, I just have to take one more phone call, right? I'll be right behind you. And then 2 hours later, I would be walking down to the beach and they're walking up from the beach. We're passing each other with that picture on my wife's face of disappointment that I've been with them, but not present mentally or physically on a vacation. This is what I'm working for, and yet I'm missing it. And I think a lot of people are stuck in that. And what I found is I was putting emphasis on the wrong things, right? Active income is not freedom. And so I read the book, Become Your Own Banker by Nelson Nash in 2010, and was introduced to that by my now business partner, Russ Morgan. And he shared with me how really control and access to cash is the number one reason people are not financially free, because they don't have access to cash, right? They're putting money away into all these places that they're told are good for them, but they don't provide access. And so people don't dream about financial freedom because they don't think it's an option. They don't think it's possible, and they don't see opportunities, right? I mean, you're helping investors finance deals. Well, those guys see deals because they have access to capital. If they didn't, they would just think, oh, well, that's for somebody else. And that's kind of how I was. I was just thinking, well, I've just got to keep on the grind. And eventually my mindset changed. I said, something's got to give. And it became important now to start seeking financial freedom. And after four years of doing that with Russ as my coach, I said, man, there's so much opportunity here for people to gain financial freedom. I want to be a part of that, because that's where I can impact people more than what I'm doing in the mortgage business today. And so that's when I made the transition over in 2014.
That's nice. That's beautiful. Let's kind of dive into like the framework your company, which is called Wealth Without Wall Street. And I love the name, by the way. Let's kind of can you kind of lay down the framework? Okay. So I'm a new, person that comes into your network, and I know I want to create passive income, and I just don't know where to start.
Right.
How do give me the roadmap in a kind of high level fashion?
Well, perfect that you say roadmap, because that's what we really believe is like, once you know your destination is financial freedom, like envision yourself pulling up your phone and open up your Maps app and you now have something to put in the where are you going, right? I'm putting in my destination, and then what? It tells me what to do. It's their GPS. And so we just formed it under these 3 steps. After a lot of like looking back on what we did to get to financial freedom, we then decided it's really 3 steps. You have to have a goal, you have to have a plan, and you have to have support. And so the first step is goal. Create a vision for what financial freedom looks like to you. And we break it down in our course. We have a passport course that is free for anybody. In case if anybody wants to go there, you go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/passport. Mm-hmm. It will help you dream again. That's what I love to say about this course is because, man, if you've been in the grind for years and years, and you just don't see what, like, you just think, I just have to hold on and put up with life. You don't have to do that, but you have to turn off like that negativity. And you have to start building in, what am I going towards? Who do I want to be? What do I want to do or stop doing? And what do I want to have when I'm financially free? And we do that course. We help you build kind of a vision board that's your financial passport. It's where you're headed, and it helps you to see that. And that then leads you into the plan. The P of GPS is the plan. And we start with, this is kind of interesting, but we start with, who are you as an investor? Because a lot of people, Beau, like what you just said, they come into our community, there's over 5,000 people in there, and they say, how do I start building passive income? I want to know what do I need to invest in? And we say, whoa, stop. Don't ask what it is I can invest in or should invest in. Think about, who am I first? Like, what sort of investor am I? Like Beau, you may want to invest in certain asset types, and I may be totally turned off by those, but feel this pressure that I'm supposed to invest in because they have a good return. Well, if I really don't align with that sort of investment, I'm going to give you an example. Like, there are people, there's a coach in our company who has a short-term rental, and he hates it. But the thing makes more money than any of our 27 short-term rentals that we have. And it makes money hand over fist. He hates it because he's not a hospitality guy. He doesn't like the hospitality business. And that's really what it is. So in our investor DNA profile, you take it as an assessment, and it tells you, what are the things about land investing, short-term rentals, money, like lending money, or long-term rentals, turnkeys, syndications, like you name it. We have a bunch of different options. It tells you, what are the pros about that based on your profile? What are the cons? What are the resources necessary to be successful in this particular investment? And once you have that knowledge, it's like, wow, now I can start planning my passive income process. And it starts to really get you there faster. Like, our whole goal is, everything is designed around getting you to financial freedom as fast as possible. And that's where the S in GPS comes in, is the support. Like, if you're surrounded by the right people, I'm not talking about the people at the water cooler at work who are like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, short-term rentals, who does that? You're never going to make any money doing that. Like, isn't that, scary? Like, why would you do that? Are you going to get to financial freedom fast with people surrounding you that don't know what you're talking about and that aren't on the same path? Heck no. No, you need to be with the right people. That's why we built our community, to support people and to provide coaching along each one of these steps.
Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, this is really, I think most people I talk to, which are aspiring or existing real estate investors, they know there's a better way. At least they know that real estate might be one of the tools. I always suggest to everybody, there should be multiple tools in the tool belt, because real estate is cyclical. That you should have maybe some short-term. Maybe you don't like short-term rentals because you got to manage a little bit more, but you can build systems where you can take yourself out of that equation. Maybe you like to flip properties, but that's more of an active business. It's really not passive. And maybe you can become a lender. So I like this community, and I like the way the GPS program, it just makes complete sense. And I liked how you talk about kind of start with the end in mind. Don't start and just go for it, because you want to have like a plan. You got to have the roadmap to figure out, okay, well, what's your strategy? And so you have the goal stage, which is the G, plan, and then support. And then those are basically the three steps to passive investments. And so like during these 5,000 or so people that are in or been in the training program, is there like do you do like online events where you talk about the different strategies of investments and so forth? What does that look like?
Yeah. So within our community, we actually have a number of different resources. So number one, we have the free version where you can just come in and just be a part of, like, just being in a feed. Just imagine like on an app, like a social media feed, you can see where people are asking questions, people are providing answers, their experience, like that stuff that you can benefit from for free. Our podcasts all go in there. We do various different trainings that are free that you can attend, like online events or webinars and stuff like that. And then we have the next layer would be like our inner circle. And that's where people are getting kind of a curriculum to follow, where they have some self-study courses that they get access to. And they also get group coaching that happens once to twice a week, along with access to like being live on our podcast. Like as we're recording our roundtable podcast every week, you're able to get on there and ask questions, and we try to implement that into the show. And then you also have one-on-one coaching with a coach that's offered through the inner circle. And then the last layer would be like passive income mastermind. It's a fairly new, it's only been around for about 6 months, but it's for our accredited investors who want more kind of exposure to deals that may be more like off market and more done for you options that they don't have as much time. They're trying to buy that time back and build to where they have 200% of their monthly expenses in passive income. It's an elite group, but it's a place for a lot of people to aspire to be a part of as well. Beyond those things, if you just want to learn like how to do short-term rentals, we have a short-term rental course you can purchase. If you want to learn about infinite banking, that's one of our foundational concepts. You can buy a course on infinite banking. So there's a multitude of resources at your fingertips right there within the community.
That's really cool. I mean, I love it, because when I was first looking on the outside when you were coming on, I didn't realize that you had this much level of coaching, and which I think is really important, because everybody needs a coach and everybody needs a roadmap to get to where they're going. Because if you try to go blindly, you're not going to get there. Now, why don't we talk about like your real estate investing journey? It sounded like you're doing some short-term rentals. Like, what have you invested in, and what do you like to invest in today?
Yeah. Well, good news is Russ and I are open books, and we felt like when we went down this path, we had to lead from the front and do the things that we were hearing people on our show. We had people guest on our show, and they were sharing with us really cool ideas about passive income. And we're like, man, I wonder if that's just, if it works or if it's just talk, that kind of thing. And so we started implementing these things about 2.5 years ago. And from that point, we started to report our personal passive income journey. And every single month you can download, what are we doing? So right now we are averaging over 50,000 a month in passive income across a bunch of different verticals. So we have a land flipping business that's done for us, where we hired a team and they go and source raw land at 25 cents on the dollar. They have a whole system in which they do that. They turn around and sell that land to the retail market on terms. And so they're just creating a note that is then going to stay on there for 6-7 years on average. That business alone is creating over 20,000 a month in passive income in just about 2 years of us running. We have the short-term rental business. We're up to 27 units that we started about 2 years ago, and it on average creates about 25 to 30,000 a month in income. Some months in the winter drop down to like 4,000 to 7,000, but it then comes back up throughout the summer months. We mine Ethereum through our crypto mining. We do long-term rentals. I have a condo that's part of our short-term rental portfolio that I also own as a long-term rental. We have a syndication on an apartment complex. We have an ATM fund with 7 ATM machines that create almost $2,200 a month in income. We have a couple e-commerce businesses. We had a cattle company. That was a terrible idea. Don't do that. I mean, you name it. We've done virtually everything you can think of, and we keep, trying to learn more and more and then share our results with the world.
That's amazing. I was like thinking, I had this idea to do that for my podcast, like exactly what, now I don't have to do it because you guys are doing it, but I should just do it for myself. But yeah, I look at a lot of that different options, because that's, everybody's really like, I think it's stated that the average millionaire has over 7 streams of income, right? And then, so I think it is important, if the short-term business slows down, you have other streams. If you have your consistent long-term rentals, you have your ATM business, which is some of them are a franchise system, some of them are just independent. I don't know which way you went with that, but I love how you're testing all these models, and the majority of them seem to be working fairly well.
Yeah, and the key for us is a lot of these things for our community members start out as a side hustle first, right? Like, for instance, in our short-term rental course, we teach you how to do from the basic, like starting your very first Airbnb listing, going and getting your very first, unit, getting the furnishings right, all those sort of things, all the systems it takes. But just know that one side hustle could become the passive business that gets you to financial freedom. And like I said, we've done these things in just a relatively short amount of time, less than 2.5 years. And you could do the same thing, right? So we want to share with you, maybe you can't start at the same level that we did in some of these areas, but there's a path that you can follow to ramp up and scale to the point where you can gain that financial independence.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at some people might not have the capital, and they don't yet have the skills to raise other people's money, OPM. But you can just look at a business like the land flipping business, and listen, you can tie these properties up and buy them for $2,000 or $3,000 sometimes. Exactly. And then you can sell them on terms for $7,000 or $8,000. And so it doesn't take much. And so, yeah, the land, I've done a couple land deals, and early on, I was often like wanted to get more education in that space, because I do like that business, because you can buy some smaller properties and you can diversify a little bit. And I do think that's an excellent business, because you sell on terms, you can sell online. It's a fairly fluid business. So that's just fascinating. I didn't understand that, how you guys did this, and I love it. It's like unbelievable.
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break.
Hello, Beau Eckstein here, host of the Investor Financing Podcast. Are you a lender, real estate professional, or vendor that provides products or services within the real estate investing and business owner space? We are offering a few sponsorship opportunities to get in front of a highly targeted audience. If you're interested, please click the link below for further information. We look forward to talking with you. Thanks. Make it a great day. Now, on your podcast, do you often talk about these different ventures and your, like what you've learned, and what is the podcast really geared for?
Yeah. So, I mean, what people come to us for is we have an expert knowledge of infinite banking. And so we have a lot of different topics about that people want to know. And a lot of people have either, gotten started in that, or they're interested and they want more information. So we provide that. But that's kind of the foundation that leads then to financial freedom. So then we bring on specialists and guests in the passive income side of the world. We don't do a whole lot on mindset. And I know there's a lot of things out there in the investor world where it's mindset, motivation, that kind of thing. We focus more on, the mindset to get away from Wall Street and get away from the big banks and the default system that's kind of been programmed into us that, retirement's a good thing for us. And, deferring taxes is a good idea and 401ks are good. Like we poo-poo on that stuff pretty hardcore because it's the opposite of financial freedom. But that's what people come to us for. And that's what helps. We help them get to financial freedom.
That's awesome. And so, what are you doing when you're not working? I mean, what are your passions? I know you have a lot of passions. It seems like you have a big family.
Yeah.
You're in Alabama, Birmingham.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of want to hear what your goals are for your mastermind groups, where you see that going. I mean, you have 5,000 people involved in that. That's a lot of people. Where do you see that growing? And then what are some of the additional passive income things you're looking at to incorporate and trying to test out? Because that's really fascinating. I think people listening and watching this, people are into vending. They're into, like, I started going down the rabbit hole on all these businesses. I'm looking at franchises to buy them. There's just, and also within this huge family or network you built, are they starting to do deals together at all? Do you see that, or is that not really happening?
I see. So there's a bunch of questions there. I want to make sure I don't miss them. One, I'm passionate about my relationship with the Lord and my daughters, my wife and my daughters. If you can see behind me, I've got 5 pictures. Those are my 5 girls that one of my daughters painted with some ink that she was doing. They're each an individual picture of them in a golf swing of some form of a golf swing, because we love to play golf together. And I take them to their lessons every week. My passion is to work less so that I can invest more in them, in my family, in my community, and in others. And so eventually I want to get to where I don't start work until about 10 and work for a few hours, only focus on one thing that I can do to push the ball forward in the different businesses that we own. I'm not there yet, but it's what drives me is to have more freedom with that. As far as what we're doing with our communities and with our masterminds is the passive income mastermind, like I said, just kind of got started, and we're wanting to try to limit it to about 100 people, which we think will be there by the end of this year. Just a lot of people looking for the path to gaining more of their time. I think there are a lot of people that are like me that have worked hard for a long time and realize that they're just not going to get any of that time back. And we got to buy it back through leveraging wisdom from other people, connections. And that is, to your other point, people in our communities do end up connecting, and they're like-minded, but they may have different strengths, right? So I've heard people that got into the land business and they're really good at the systems, but they're not really great at the sales side. And so maybe they can partner with somebody in the community that's really good at the sales, but is not good at the systems, and or somebody that's got more capital than they do, and they can help invest in that person's business because they have a proven model and knowledge, but they just don't have the capital yet to expand. Lots of those type of things do happen. They're all organic. Nothing is forced or necessarily encouraged anyway. It just happens when people are in community. The last thing I'll say is that last year I went on a 22-day trip with my family across the country in an RV, and it started with an idea to rent an RV. And whenever I went down that path, I realized this is going to be like 10 grand to rent an RV for 20 days. And I said, heck no, I'm just going to buy one. And so I found one, I bought it, and now I rent it to other people.
On RV, yeah, RV Easy or one of those sites.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a management company I found locally that does this. And they just brought mine in as a consignment to their fleet. So it's totally hands off to me, and it more than pays for itself. It's not a huge money maker, but it's super cool. And it's gotten me interested in potentially investing in the RV, like RV park space.
Yeah.
And we just had a guy that came onto our passive income mastermind that taught us about that and how he's making ridiculous returns by buying up these mom and pop RV parks and just making them into essentially like destinations. And so anyways, I'm interested in that. I'm interested in Bitcoin. We just, invested in a Bitcoin mining operation. And yeah, so those are kind of where my brain's going right now at the moment.
That's awesome. I actually interviewed this young gentleman, and he's really smart, sharp. He's like 28 years old. And anyways, he built a whole course on renting out RVs, and now he's got one or two, but the one nets him $4,000 a month every month. And what I liked about it too is you can get 20-year financing. You can finance 100%. So it is an actual. I'm probably going to buy his course because I'm interested in doing that, because I'm like, this is kind of a no-brainer. I like things that I can cash flow pretty quickly, limited cash out of pocket. And anyways, that's the fun thing about society now, the world. It's evolving so fast, and I hope everybody out there just takes action. And I love what you guys are doing, because you guys are like, just, you find something, you investigate it, and you take action, and then you're transparent, and you're saying, hey, this cattle business probably wasn't the best business, but this darn Airbnb business was good. So it's amazing what you guys are doing. I'm gonna actually start following you more now that I really got what you're doing. And I think anybody listening, where can we send people so they can learn more about this?
I would say the first step, man, is just join the community, be a part of what we're doing. And you get free access to that first course I was mentioning, like go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/passport, get access to that course, help to kind of put down on paper what you're really trying to accomplish, because that makes all the decisions thereafter that much clearer to you. If you don't have that clarity to begin with, you can get down the wrong path really easily. And we want to help you get down the right path. Once you get in there, you can actually download the app on your phone at the App Store. Just search Wealth Without Wall Street, and you can DM me in there and just let me know you heard me on the show. I always like to connect with people who listen to podcasts, and it really means a lot to me when people reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was really exciting just to learn what you guys are doing. It's really incredible. And please keep me posted on the journey. And I'm going to start following it more, because I really enjoy the whole concept of what you're doing. It really resonates with me. It makes sense. And I love the fact that you're sharing your journey with all these people. So thanks, Joey, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Beau.